Good day, everyone. I'm Cherlyn C. Lantero, and I will be the one to present the topic, which is the Assure Instructional Design Model. So, first, let's define what is Assure model. So, what is Assure model? What is all about? So, Assure is an instructional design model that has the goal of producing more effective teaching and learning. Assure is an acronym that stands for the various steps in the model. So these are the various steps, and Assure model provides a systematic approach to designing lessons. So this means that Assure model ensures that instructional materials focus on achieving specific learning outcomes and that learners are actively engaged in the learning process. Also, learners always know what they're expected to learn and how. So next is we have a six steps. So each letter of Assure has a meaning, and the Assure model has six components or steps each necessary for the successful implementations of the instructions. So first we have the letter A that stands for analyze. So the first step in the process is that the teacher should analyze the attributes of her or his learners. So there should be a focus on those learners' characteristics which are associated with the learning outcome desired. So when you determine the character of the learners, it will guide you in choosing specific strategies and resources to aid the learning process. Analyze include the general attributes of the learners, such as age, academic abilities, gender, interests, and others. It also include the prior competencies as well as the learning style, such as auditory and visual tactile. So the next one is the first letter S that stands for state standards and objectives. So the teacher must state standards and objectives for the learning module. So this statement will focus on what the learners will know or be able to do as a result of the instructions. So example of this is with medical students, the learners will be able to name at least two databases and two search techniques that they can use to locate medical evidence for particular cases. So in state standards and objectives, so we have also the objectives. The objectives can be used in assessing the success of the students. Also, the objectives used to let the learners know what they will accomplish through the class. So the mark of a good set of learning objectives is conformity to the ABCDs of well-stated learning objectives. So they are as follows. So we have the first one is the letter A, stands for audience. So for whom is the objective intended? Para asa o para kag kinsan na ang imong objectives. Okay, the next one is the letter B, stands for behavior. What is the behavior or performance to be demonstrated? The next one is the letter C, means conditions. So what are the conditions under which the behavior or performance will be observed? And the last one is the degree. So to what degree will the knowledge or skill be mastered? So the objective statement should be formulated with verbs that pinpoint the learning objectives. So a useful guide to the appropriate verbs to use is contained in Bloom's taxonomy. So remember that assessment can only be based on your learner's behavior. A learner may know some material backward and forwards, but may not be able to perform well on the test. So we have now the other letter S of a SHORE model, means select strategies, technology, media, and materials. So it is given of what the learning objectives are. It is necessary to pick instructional strategies, technology, and media that will bring about the result that you want. So first, you should figure out which delivery method will be best for your instructions. For instance, what proportion of your instructions will be? Is it instructor centered or student centered? So the first of these are strategies such as lectures, demonstrations, or showing a video. The second, the second are strategies such as group discussions or cooperative group work. So once you select your teaching strategy, so then it's time to figure out which technology, media, and materials best support the method of teaching that you're using. So this ranges from simple tools such, such as chalks and blackboards, so to more sophisticated ones such as PowerPoint presentations. So what must be remembered is that the teacher is the important ingredient in giving over the material. So fancy tools are useful, but it ultimately boils down to having someone who knows more than what the textbook contains. Okay, so the other letter is the letter U that stands for utilize technology, media, and materials. So this is concerns in making a plan as to how you will utilize the technology, media, and materials that you have selected. So the utilized technology, media, and materials have 5 Ps. So it is important to follow the 5 Ps process. So the first one is the preview, the technology, media, and materials. So this means that it's important to plan ahead of time just how you're going to use them. It's good to do a dry run of your lesson before you actually teach it. So make sure that the whole lesson will go smoothly and seamlessly. So the second one is prepare the technology, media, and materials. You need to gather together all the things that you will need to teach your lesson. They must be working properly. For example, if you are making a PowerPoint presentation, then you'll need to create the text and graphics for each screen. So it is important to gather all of that things. Okay, the third one is prepare the environment. So there is some minimal preparation required to set up the learning environment. So simple things like making sure that you have enough desks are important. And also, if you have control over the situation, you should make sure that there are no source of noise that will disturb the students. Okay, the fourth one is prepare the learners. So first, you need to clearly inform the learners as to what the learning objectives are. This will help the learners create a mental map of what they need to absorb. Next is it's important to tell the students how they will be assessed. You need to tell them what their assignments will be, they will be graded, if there were tests and others. And also you should explain to the students what the benefits of learning the materials are. And the last one is provide the learning experience. So you then actually carry out the lesson. So this is where all your planning takes effect. Okay, you should be prepared to carry out the lesson with every prior step of the process in mind. This will ensure your success as a teacher. So let's move on to the letter R. That's mean required learner participation. So this step requires that you make plans to how you are going to actively engage your students in the materials that you are teaching. So this needs to be figured out both at the class level and the individual level. So the most basic step that you can take is requiring participation of the students in class discussion. A more sophisticated approach would require that students prepare questions and comments at home, bring into the class. So beyond this, you need to plan exactly how the students will participate in the learning process, generally speaking. So how will they learn the information and techniques included in a lesson? So this plan needs to be more specific than just saying that they will listen and absorb the material. Maybe you will encourage a specific kind of note taking or other learning strategies. And of course, let's have letter E, the evaluate and revise. So in this step, you evaluate the impact of your teaching on students' learning. So this includes an evaluation of your teaching strategies and the technology, media, and materials that you use. So there are questions that are useful to us during this evaluation. Did did your lesson meet the learning objectives that you planned? Do they feel that they have reached your objectives? Or how will you determine whether or not your performance was effective? So, and it is possible that other technologies, media, and materials would have done a better job. Or was your choice of media and materials a good one? Or how will you assess the effectiveness of these tools? The final step in the evaluation should be focused on the feedback of the students. So, in overall, the assure process is really just a matter of common sense. And however, it is good to follow a regimented guide to improve our teaching technique. So, any effective teacher knows that the perfection of their technique doesn't come overnight, and there is always room for improvement. So, by following the assure process, you will be sure to improve the teaching for many years to come. That could be all. Thank you.